click.
One second, I guess.
Okay.
This will be very brief. I didn't have a computer until the year 2000. I couldn't decide if I wanted to get a computer or a Xerox machine. I was designing my work by taking sketches to this place called Can Do. When their machines broke down, they were no can do. Anyway, I was spending upwards of hundreds of dollars on Xerox copies, so I thought I should buy a Xerox machine or a computer. And I ended up getting a computer. So that was in the year 2000. I was very intimidated by the idea of doing Photoshop. I didn't even think it would have any application. But anyway, these are the uses of Photoshop in my work, and I'll now go through them one by one in a minute. The way I learned Photoshop was I had about 3 lessons with a friend of mine named Marla, and after that I just took in photographs and just started doing things. This was a picture from a Victoria's Secret catalog, and after about 10 billion filters, this is what the model looked like. So the way you learn Photoshop is you get a photograph, you put it in Photoshop, and you just click everything. And it's very... and all Photoshop is a toolbox and some palettes. It's so intuitive. The only thing you don't know about Photoshop is where everything is, and some of what things do. But it's really a matter of selecting an area you want to manipulate and then finding the thing you want to do to manipulate it. And I'll get to why stained glass is perfect for this. Anyway, so I did these are my cats. I did work that was just Photoshop, like the print that was auctioned last night. And this is another one called Orphanage Fire. These are actually not based on scans necessarily, or if it is, it's just a black and white line drawing, and it's all painted in Photoshop with the airbrushes. I got so excited about computers, so I went from in the year 2000 being terrified of them to by 2005 I was taking classes in Maya, which is the computer animation program used to make the movie Shrek. And this was a print I did called A Goat in a Tub. And aren't I clever? I will tell you, the thing that's really fun about 3D modeling is that you can walk around that bathroom basically. There's a toilet in there. It's very cool. One of the main things I use Photoshop for is to manipulate and alter sketches to make them usable in a glass piece. Obviously, this is a faculty meeting. Notes. And you can see on the right-hand side, this was actually from the American Craft Council meeting. I did something like 300 birds, a really, really good meeting for me. And I put the sketches into Photoshop and end up with an image like that, so I can actually use them as elements in a piece, because now they're separated from that line background, stuff like that, which is really just a matter of erasing, and then use them in a piece like that. There we go. Or I can use actual photographs as source material. That is Chong. I needed a lot of cats, but I only have 5 of my own, so I would just take the faces and sort of mix and match them. You know, this cat's mouth with that cat's eyes, so I would end up with a lot of different cats. All right, I change my mind a lot when it comes to compositions, and when you take the Xeroxes, and I would make them in all different sizes and backwards and forwards, and then cut them out and glue them together. With Photoshop, you can change your mind a lot and reorganize compositions without having to, the papers blow around the room. So this started like that. I stole the boat with Photoshop and turned it into a girl, and then just made the window. Must be a big file next. So I had the head already, but I didn't, it is a big file. I didn't know what I wanted how I wanted the figure to be positioned. So I just generated the head a bunch of times on a piece of paper and then sketched in it different ideas. Ended up with that one. I actually put all those reflections on the barf with Photoshop. make sandblast stencils. That's actually a digital print, but I just like showing it because I'm a show-off. And by the way, they can digitally print fabric, and this floor is a Photoshop document that's not in this horrifically bad perspective, and it's was used to make silk yardage, which is available from the Fabric Workshop, and it's super sexy. So I make a lot of sandblast stencils, which you can do in Photoshop, or you can just pay Raisis to do it for you. And that's the stained glass window. Similar with those butterflies. That was the Photoshop document. And these things that I call pongs and those trees. So they started up as sketches by me. But obviously, you don't have to do the 6 branches of a snowflake, you just do one. I thought you might like to see that. Also, I use Photoshop to create my cartoons. And in this case, this is a really obvious example because that on the left is a photo I got off Gordon Plum's amazing photo stream. And it's from a church in Lincoln, in England. And it's one of my favorite stained glass windows ever. So I had to make my own version of it. And in Photoshop, you can use it to completely change your mind. Oh. So I took the first figure out and put this figure in and made the window like that. And she's on my light table. I don't know where she's going to be, but she's glass, just sitting there with no context. And this also is from Gordon Plum's photo stream. And I'm showing you this because the one obvious use of Photoshop is to adjust your portfolio images, and Gordon desperately needs like just a simple lesson in Photoshop. Because, don't tell him I said that. No, look at that. This is a horrible botched disaster, and so I fixed it for him. One thing about stained glass images is that, like I said earlier, if you don't know anything about Photoshop, the whole point is you select an area to manipulate. Lead lines are a natural way to make a selection. There is no reason for this. That's just bad. Bad. And then, etc. I've used Photoshop just for anything. I'll use it to make a straight line because a computer is way cooler than a ruler. In this case, I just found this photograph and I plopped a figure in it and made a stained glass window. I think that's it. All right.
Yes, please do.